Hello folks! Today we're going to talk about different ways to hold your pencil to help you have more control when you're trying to do shading. First thing I need to let you know is there is not a wrong or right way to hold your pencil. There are just a lot of different ways that you can try so you can figure out what works best for you for a specific given sketch, a specific given day, specific workspace, whatever. The first grip I'm going to show you today is called a tripod grip. That's where your pencil is balanced between your thumb and both your middle finger and your index finger. And we usually hold our hand in this position. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because you're going to watch another video where she talks about it more. But the most important thing to remember is when you're trying to do shading, you don't want to cramp up your hand, so you don't want to squeeze your fingers like this and give yourself a bad time. Keep it nice and relaxed, supported between those three fingers. 1, 2, 3. That's why it's a tripod. So drawing with a tripod grip usually looks a lot like writing. You have this whole bottom part of your hand resting on the paper. And so for small areas, you can get really good precision shading. Relax my fingers. We're all stressed right now though. And the majority of the motion when you're shading is coming from your wrist or sometimes even just from your fingers. The next method of holding your pencil is called an underhand grip. Underhand grip, and you start with a tripod, but you rotate so that kind of the back part of your hand, or like along, lined up along your pinky finger, that's what's now resting on the table. So you still have the same 3 fingers holding your pencil, but instead of this way, you've rotated this way, so tend to move your pencil like farther away from you so that it can reach. And a lot of you do this naturally when you're shading. So this is shading with an underhand grip. The last method I'm going to show you today is the overhand grip. And this one, you're going to hold your pencil completely differently. So I want you to put it where your pencil is on the palm of your hand. If you had a really long pencil, like it would be down your wrist, but that's crazy. And then it lays on top of your index finger, and you're pinching it with your middle finger and your thumb. So it looks like this. Then you flip over and you shade like this. And that's the overhand grip. It's good for large things, as you're going to see in our next activity video. And it can be useful for when you are working upright, because this gets really annoying. But this becomes much more comfortable if you're working on an easel. So let's talk about what should be moving when you are drawing. You can move from your fingers, your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder, like obviously parts of your arm. And drawing with different parts of your body, you'll get different, as you can see here, lengths of strokes, different types of control, and especially different aches and pains if you don't switch it up. So right now, grab your pencil and kind of maybe hold it in a tripod grip and mimic moving from your wrist. The next would be to practice making a mark moving from your elbow. And you don't actually have to have your paper. You can pantomime this, pretend you have a paper, and kind of what kind of motions can you get drawing from your elbow. Then do the same thing, moving all the way from your shoulder. And I don't need you to get up and do it, but if you were doing like a huge mural, like the size of a chalkboard, there'd be times where you're basically moving your entire body to get like big, long lines. So that's a thing. We're also going to talk about what part of the pencil to use, because if you're using the very, very tip of the pencil, it's not ideal for shading. It can be great for drawing, for getting a fine detailed line. But as you can see over here, it scratches your paper. And then especially if you're trying to erase mistakes or erase like guidelines later, you're going to have dents in your paper. And it's going to look streaky no matter how smooth the rest of your pencil marks are. So if you can use the side of your pencil, that is much more ideal because it doesn't scratch your paper up. There's also this concept of the ideal chisel point, where if you can get your pencil point to look like this up close, you can be shading with the big flat edge, and then you just rotate your pencil around and you have a nice like pointy edge for fine details. So when you achieve this, it's like nirvana, not the heavy metal band or grunge band from the 90s, but like it's a meditative bliss where you're like, my pencil is perfect. So now you are going to watch another video from a different teacher where you'll practice using the overhand grip to create a drawing of something that is round. I want you to approximately block in the correct light and shadow that we learned about in our last lesson. But just like she says, we're not going for accuracy here. That is correct. I don't need you to have a perfect drawing from this exercise. I just want you to follow along and give it your best try. Have fun.